Having the right people around you is everything. Entrepreneurship is a team sport. Every great entrepreneur has an amazing team of people around them. Entrepreneurs need to build teams, and an entrepreneur needs to be the person who has the vision, enrolls people, who mobilizes that talent, who brings the confidence into the business.
Daniel Priestley, a globally recognized entrepreneur. He's a prolific author, having penned 4 best-selling books, and a co-founder of Dent Global. He's a trailblazer who has built businesses across continents. With offices in London, Sydney, Singapore, Dent Global is endorsed by the Institute of Leadership and Management, attracting over 500 entrepreneurs annually who benefit from high net worth mentors and transformative business development programs. How long for a person who puts the effort and time to become a KPI?
It depends on how much.
Welcome back, Alphas, to a new inspiring episode of the Alpha Talks podcast. Today in the studio, I've got a very special alpha for you today. Daniel Priestley, a true luminary in the business realm, a globally recognized entrepreneur, best-selling author, and a co-founder of Dent Global. So without further ado, let's welcome Daniel to the Alpha Talks podcast. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much. My cheeks are blushing with that introduction. That's
to be
very
honest,
nice.
I just cut it more.
It's just Wikipedia page, boom.
Thank you for having you today. I appreciate it. Daniel, let's say somebody will see the podcast once we publish it. He will see the thumbnail, the title, and will think it's super interesting to watch. What can we promise them to gain when they watch?
So let's talk about today the importance of building a business in a very strategic way, because 100 years ago, if you wanted to create an airplane, nobody knew the principles that made an airplane take off.
True.
They didn't understand exactly why. They knew it was possible, but they didn't know exactly how airplanes fly. But then they documented all the principles, and now today we can predictably make airplanes take off. And
True.
Now where we are with business and entrepreneurship is that most people know they want to have a business that takes off, but they don't know the exact principles and the exact steps that make a business take off.
True.
So if today we cover some of those key principles, then we're going to get a lot done.
I'm sure I'm gonna gain a lot of knowledge from this episode, so I'm sure you guys will. So starting, can you tell us who's Daniel from your perspective? Your perspective.
So I'm an entrepreneur and an author. As a kid, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. When I was a teenager, I worked at McDonald's. I used to look up to the guy who owned the McDonald's. I loved the McDonald's systems. And I started reading business books and reading business magazines. And I thought to myself, this is what I want. I want to be one of these entrepreneurs from a very young age. I started running businesses in my teenage years, nightclub parties, flowers, selling flowers door to door, all these kind of things.
So you never worked a corporate job?
Never had a corporate job, no.
Okay.
I've always been in entrepreneurship and startup. So yeah, over the last 22, 23 years, I've built and sold several different businesses. I've had services businesses, I've had tech businesses. I've bought distressed companies, turned them around and sold them. I've bought good companies and made them even more successful. I've started several different businesses that have gone north of 10 million in value. So from starting businesses, scaling businesses, grouping and rolling up businesses, I've done all of those things.
A quick note, I find this incredibly intriguing. On the back end of our YouTube channel, it says around 75% of you who watch this channel frequently over the lifetime of this channel haven't yet hit the subscribe button. I just wanted to ask you for a favor. It helps this channel so much if you choose to just subscribe. It helps us invite guests that give you great value. It helps us scale the production and as well makes this show bigger and bigger for you. And if you enjoyed the previous episodes and you're currently enjoying this episode, could you please hit the subscribe button? I love your support. It's incredible to see all your comments and engagement. And we are just starting. Thank you so much, and I will repay this gesture by making sure that everything we do on this show makes it bigger, and better. I'm committed to do this promise. Do we have a deal? Thank you so much for subscribing. It means the world to me.
I have a question, but that doesn't mean you're old, okay? Because even if I'm going back to my young self, if I go back to my beginnings, being an entrepreneur at that time wasn't something flashy like today.
No, we didn't even have the word.
Exactly. Or if you act as an entrepreneur, people then like go find a job. So what inspired you to become an entrepreneur at that time?
There was a book called The E-Myth when I was about 15, 16. So I'm 42 now.
Yeah.
So that happened. There was also this, in Australia, there was this list called the BRW 200, which was the 200, like the Forbes 400.
Yeah.
And what I found, I was a naughty kid at school, and they made me clean out this cupboard full of all this trash. And one of the magazines was this BRW 200.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading it while I was meant to be cleaning. And I found this guy who was like 38, and he owned all the CD music shops, and he also owned this fashion brand. And I'm like, this guy's awesome. And I started reading through his story, and I went, wow, this guy, he's in his 30s and he's made 200 million. And I just felt drawn, like something lit up inside me. I got talking to the owner of my McDonald's at a Christmas party, and he explained to me how he owned 6 McDonald's, didn't have to work in the McDonald's. He was the owner, and the systems do the work and all this stuff. So my head was just exploding with these ideas that you could own businesses. I don't know why, I just loved it. And there wasn't a big word called entrepreneur at the time.
At all.
We just called it business owner.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to do startups and start businesses and grow businesses.
What was your first business that you set it up?
The first proper business was nightclub parties. So I was 18 years old, and I worked with the local radio station, the local McDonald's, and the local nightclubs, and we put together a package deal. And I ended up was 18, and I ran these huge parties, and we would do about 6 parties a year, make about $10,000 in a night.
Yeah.
Which at 18 is a lot of money, right? And it's all cash, like literally holding big things of cash. And we'd do fashion parades, and we'd have like all this cool stuff going on. So it was so cool. It was so great.
Why did pivot came? Because nightlife, night business, nightclubs, it takes a different route than where you're in now.
So when I was 19, I dropped out of university and I got a mentor. And this guy was 37, I was 19, and he was starting a new business. He'd already been successful in business. He had a beautiful big house, lovely family, 3 kids. And I went to his house, and it was the biggest house I'd ever walked into, right? So I'd never been in a big house before, and I walked into this house, and when I knocked on the door, I knew whoever opens that door, I'm going to work for them. I got the opportunity through a friend to meet this guy. And I thought, I'm going to work for this guy. This is going to be great. So I went in, and I was meant to have a 30-minute meeting. We talked for 3 hours. And at the end of 3 hours, he said, look, you're going to come work for me. I'm going to give you all sorts of weird jobs to do. You're going to help me with all sorts of things that I need. And we're going to get this business started. And I was employee number 3 or something like that. He was putting together 3 or 4 people. 2 years later, we had 60 people. So I had the experience from 19 to 21 of what a fast growth startup looks like. And that's, a lot of people say, how did you start a business so young, so early?
Yeah.
It's because I went through it for 2 years with John, and then I was right under his wing the whole time. And then I just went on and continued the momentum with my...
I love this thing, because if I take the message from what you said now, it means like, if I come to you as a young Saif and I tell you I want to be an entrepreneur, you will push me back and say, Saif, go work with an entrepreneur, understand what they do, then...
I think everyone should do an apprenticeship. Even, it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you want to be a doctor, you're going to work with experienced doctors. If you want to be an architect, you're going to work with experienced architects. You're going to be around people who have done 10 times more than you have done. I see a lot of young people, they think they've got no time, but they would save themselves so much time if they did 2 years working for a mentor.
True.
I once got to go to the snow skiing with this guy who had built £10 million company, €10 million company, and incredible story. But guess what he did before that? He worked closely with Larry Ellison, right? So he worked for a billionaire, multi-billionaire, and he did 2 or 3 years working for directly and closely with this Larry Ellison, and then he went off and started his own company. So there's this something about when you become like the people that you are mentored by. So start with that.
Another question from this. How did you make that guy, your mentor, accept you to become his mentee? Because we see a lot of people, there are our role models, but it's hard to get in touch with them. What value you could provide?
Well, the mentoring happens on the side, but you have to be working together on a project. So think about like a doctor, a senior doctor who's got 20 years experience and a junior doctor who's just starting out. It's not that he says, can you mentor me? It's let's work together in the hospital saving lives, and then I'm going to learn, and sometimes I'm going to say, why did you do it that way? And he's going to say, I did it that way because of this. And you're going to pick stuff up. One thing I see as a mistake is someone says to me all the time, oh, can you mentor me? And they want me to go out of my way to teach someone so they can go and build their business.
100%.
And that, I wish I could, but like what's
capacity,
in it?
bandwidth.
Yeah, and also what's in it for me? So I've had probably 12 young people who have come and worked for me for a couple of years and ended up going and building a 7-figure business. One of my 2 young guys who worked on my sales team, they did 2 years. They then left and then they started a business. They just sold it for $7 million US.
Oh, wow.
And they're still in their mid-20s, like mid to late 20s. Now, they didn't ask me to be a mentor. They joined my team, right? Now, mentoring happened
during, exactly,
while they worked their ass off.
Yeah.
So how do you get a mentor? You don't ask for a mentor. You say, can I come and work my ass off for you? Right? Can I come?
Very lovely tweak to it, 100%.
Yeah. Can I come and make sales? Can I do your marketing? Can I basically, the attitude that I had is that the money that I get paid is just a bonus. I don't care. Like, provided I can eat, I just want to be in and around the circle. I didn't want John to take time out to mentor me. I just worked and worked and worked. I worked every hour. If he needed me to drop him at the airport, I drop him at the airport. If he wants me to lick stamps and put them on envelopes and send them, I'll do that.
If you remember John, and of course you do, what will be the greatest lessons you've learned from him?
Biggest lesson was everything is downstream from lead generation. So he was very, very good at understanding that a business becomes successful because it is good at generating demand, not supply. Right? Now, supply, obviously what you do is important, but most entrepreneurs, they start a business thinking about the supply side of what they do.
We'll create this product, we'll create this
We'll create the product, we're going to build this amazing technology, we're going to do this. And then when it doesn't work, they go back to the supply. Oh, maybe we need to put a button on it. Maybe we need to do this. Maybe we need. So they're just focusing on building the thing. So, imagine that my business is building
the tigers,
right? And all I think about is, maybe I need to make it a little bit better. Maybe I didn't paint it properly. Maybe I need to do a silver, gold, bronze one.
True.
Right? So I'm focusing on this. But the real business is actually making people want to buy it in the first place.
True.
So John said a saying, which was, everything is downstream from lead generation. If you can't generate the leads, you don't have a business. And he said, if you generate the leads, you can solve all the other problems. But if you solve all the other problems but you can't generate the leads, you don't have a business.
True.
So he would always start with lead generation. So when we would launch campaigns and products and that, we would not focus too heavily on the supply side. We would run signaling campaigns where people say that they're interested. We'd do things like waiting lists. We'd do events, right? Basically getting people to say, yes, I want this, filling in forms, filling in surveys. So generating the demand. So everything is lead generation first.
I love this because there are a lot of people online now where they talk about, they don't even prepare the product or the service unless they see a proper demand. So they create the demand first and then they do the product or the course. That's
how the professional entrepreneurs do it. Let's take the most successful entrepreneur on the planet, Elon Musk. Does he build 1 million Cybertrucks and then try and sell them?
No.
Does he make 1 million people want a Cybertruck and then try and build them? Yes.
True.
Right? So 3 years ago, he did the whole waiting list for the Cybertruck and he had 1 million people put down a deposit to get a Cybertruck, knowing that it would be 3 years down the track. So the best way, here's the best ways to launch a business. Launch a waiting list. Just don't start a company. Don't set up a bank account. Don't sit there with a technology team. Just launch a waiting list. And then, so like, that's a great one. A launch event, have an event where people can online, where people can just Zoom, and people can signal that they want to know more. Launch a white paper. Launch a discussion group on WhatsApp. A discussion group is a great way to launch a business. So let's say I want to be a fitness coach, right? So I do a weight loss for men discussion group, right? Weight loss for dads, right? So I create a WhatsApp discussion group called Weight Loss for Dads, and then I just go around and I invite people to my discussion group. If I can get 400 dads who want to join the Weight Loss for Dads, now I've got the makings of a business, because I've got 400 people who know that I've got 400 people.
True.
And then I say, look, I can take on 5 clients, and then fill in this application to be one of my clients.
So start from the lead, start from the demand rather than...
Yeah.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, online scorecards are another one. Amazing. So having an online survey, an online scorecard or assessment, if you can get 100 people a month filling that in, then you know you've got a business.
True.
And you don't need a bank account for this. You can do this if you're a full-time employee and you're just testing the market. If you've got demand, now think about supply.
Wow, I love that. You have a book called Key Person of Influence, and you talked about the importance of becoming a significant person in your industry. Why it's that now?
Well, it's not just even now. For all of time, the way all industries work is 3 layers: newbies, worker bees, and key people of influence. So the newbies are the people who are just entering the industry. The worker bees are the ones who are very skilled and they know what they're doing, and they do the work. And then the key people of influence are the ones who are holding everything in place just by being there.
Okay.
Right? So they don't have to do the work. They are known, they're liked, they're trusted. Their names come up in conversation. They're the person who gets the phone call when something happens. So take a big accounting firm like KPMG or EY. You've got partners.
Yes.
So the partners, there's about 700 partners in the UK for each of those firms. Then they've got about 12,000 people who do the work. And then they've got new graduates and new recruits. So the goal is to be the key person of influence. But all industries work exactly the same.
True.
So when you're a key person of influence, you've got enough of a name and a brand and a reputation for people to come to you with opportunities. They want to fund you. They want to do joint ventures and partnerships with you. So what I'm explaining in that book is that success is not doing more work, because that's just the worker bee layer. At some point in your career, you have to make a transition to say, I'm not doing more work, I'm building a bigger brand.
Okay.
Right?
If I talk about being a KPI, is there a process that people have to pass through?
Yes. So I break it down into 5 steps. The key person of influence is primarily the person who pitches the ideas. The big ideas get pitched by the key person of influence. Steve Jobs pitching why you need an iPhone. Elon Musk pitching why you need an electric car.
True.
Right? So the key people of influence have to have a big pitch. They've got to be the one who explains the idea. They have to enroll people into the excitement, right? So they are the masters of getting you to think differently.
Okay.
Right? So
the visionaries, kind of.
Yeah, so everyone has to work on their pitching skills. So if anyone's listening, if you're good at doing the work but you're not good at pitching the work, you've got to make that shift, right?
Correct.
So if, let's say you're in a meeting and they ask you to speak up and they say, oh, why should this client do this? You need to be prepared for that and say, let me enroll this client, get them excited, right? So now that's a skill anyone can learn. Everyone can learn the pitching skills. And we have to learn pitching skills because the workers don't pitch, the key people of influence pitch, right? So the first one is pitching. Publishing. Publishing just means putting things in public domain. So publishing podcasts, videos, a book. You got a book coming out,
Yeah.
all right? So having the book, having the blogs, having the articles. Look, every key person I know, they put at least 2-3 things on LinkedIn every week.
Okay.
Right? Even if they've got someone on their team who helps them. And then I get all these people who are stuck financially, stuck in their career. Who go, I'm stuck. And I go, how often do you publish on LinkedIn? Oh, never. Well, why not? Oh, well, I don't know what to say. We'll figure it out. Like start publishing. I go, but no one will pay any attention. Well, then it doesn't matter.
So you're making publishing, you're saying publishing on any platform.
Yeah, ideally you want to start publishing articles and blogs, then podcasts and videos, and then a book.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the third thing, key people of influence are the ones who have what we call the product ecosystem. So the product ecosystem is you can't make your money by selling your time. You have to move to making money by selling products. So for example, when I walk in your office, you've got the 20 different companies that you own. All of those companies have got products. You and I can be sitting here talking while your businesses have their doors open and they're making money. So you're not selling your time, you're selling the products. So the big shift for someone who's not a key person of influence, one of the ways you know you're not a key person of influence is you sell your time. Now, key people of influence, occasionally they sell time. They might do a speaking fee or a brand deal or something like that, but it's not really their time. It's their involvement that they're selling. They're selling the fact that they're involved. But most of their money comes from products and services that they don't, it's not their time. The next step is that they have a profile. If I Google somebody, I can tell within 5 minutes if this is a key person of influence or if this is a worker. So a worker is going to have a boring little Instagram account with 100 followers, a boring little LinkedIn profile. And when I look at their Twitter account or I look at their Instagram, they're not inspiring people with what they want them to do. They're saying, oh, I went to the shops today and I bought this and I did this and and it's just this kind of like, it's there's nothing to it, right? Unless I'm the grandma. Why am I watching, right?
So Google speaks.
Yes. Yeah. So we got to have a good Google profile. When someone Googles you, you got to look the part. And then the final one is that the key people of influence are the ones who do the partnerships. They bring the partners together. So
deal maker kind of?
They're deal makers, they're partners, they're joint ventures. So when a key person of influence wants to launch a new business, they don't do all the work, but what they do is they host a dinner. And they say, I'm going to bring together all the marketing partners around the table and I'm going to let them know that we're launching something new and you can get involved. When they want to scale a business, they go, okay, we're going to need a couple of million. I'm going to bring together investors, right? So they'll bring in some investors. When they want to, improve their product, they don't actually just do everything themselves. They go to other companies and say, hey, can we package in your products? Can we package? Can we do a package deal? Right? We want to bring your software together. We want to put your training materials in here. We want to put your content, right? So they package things together. So they're the ones who actually bring together the packages. So pitch, publish, products, profile, and partnership. Those are the big five things that key people of influence do.
If people are watching us now and they say, okay, how long for a good person, a person who puts the effort and time, how long does it take a person to become a KPI?
It depends on how much you've achieved in the last 10, 15 years. Now let's say you work at Accenture and you've been working with big brands. You've done some work with LVMH, you've done some work with BMW, you've done some work with Google, and you've been consulting in all those places. You've had your hands on bigger budgets and bigger brands. It's going to be very easy to become a key person of influence in 12 months. So 12 months of making the shift and you're going to see people coming flooding in. If you're a 20-year-old who hasn't achieved anything yet, you're better off actually working underneath a key person of influence and being a number 2 or a number 3
to build the credibility,
to get under their wing, get in their orbit, and that way you're going to be able to, in many ways, ride on the coattails for 2 or 3 years, building your skills, building your brand, building your story, and then you can take all of that and turn it into a key person of influence. So I would say if you're starting out, you do need to do the work. You got to put in some time, and you not only you need to do the work, you're better off doing the work. You're better off being in the orbit.
True.
Right? Be a number 2.
Dent Group supports people to become KPI, or that's
we do. So one of our programs is the Key Person of Influence Accelerator, but part of getting on the program is you have to have 15 years experience.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
to the majority of the candidates say
the average age of our clients are in their 40s and up. And they're all people who have got 15 years experience in their industry. They've won awards, they've worked on award-winning projects. They're standing on a mountain of value, but they haven't spotted how to turn that into more. Right? They're too close to their story.
If you look at people now in the world and would say, like, if I tell you, like, namely top 3 in your mind who are really KPIs, like top key, who are? From your standpoint.
Yeah. So it's normally like the king of all the KPIs is Richard Branson, I think, right? Richard Branson he has 150 different brands or businesses. Yeah. Everyone just wants to partner with him because of who he is. He's written the books, so he publishes amazing books. He gets all of his thinking out. He writes articles, and he's out there. He's got an amazing profile. Like if you Google him, he's always in a newspaper every week.
Sure.
He's the master of putting partnerships together. He brings together the money, and he all of that.
I have a story. Sorry to interrupt. A couple of years back, I had an interview on Egyptian national TV, and the lady was asking me, who's the person that inspires you the most? So I said Richard Branson, of course. And I got a call afterwards from my father. I said, like, what the hell? I said, like, you should, like, I'm your father.
You kill me right now.
But 100%.
Say, father, where is your airline?
Exactly. Where's Virgin?
Yeah. Okay. We're in Dubai right now. Sheikh Mohammed, he stood 50 years ago and said, this is going to be a global head of commerce. This is going to be a central region in the world. This is going to rival Singapore. It's going to be a major commercial. He pitched it. He pitched an idea that nobody could see.
True.
Right? He has written some incredible business books. Most people don't realize this, but he's actually written you go to the airport and he's got amazing books.
True.
Right? So he takes his thinking, he puts it out there. He has brought together the partnerships in the region, right? So he's taken essentially a desert with very limited natural resources and made it one of the most commercially successful powerhouse in the world. True. So, I think of him as being probably the ultimate key person of influence.
True.
It's easy to say, oh, well, he was born as a royal, but in this region, there were plenty of people born as royals who didn't build one of the most successful cities.
And still there are, actually. Yeah. True.
So he's an amazing man from that point. You
have a very interesting vision of an entrepreneur. Okay. Because a lot of people say entrepreneur, roll up your sleeves, do the work, do. You have a little bit a different angle. You said like entrepreneurs don't need to do the job.
No.
So you get people to do the job, and you have the vision, you have connecting things. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit?
I think that anything that you can outsource to somebody else, you should build a team around you. Having the right people around you is everything. Having a great team of people. There's no great entrepreneurship is a team sport. If someone says I'm a great entrepreneur and I have no employees and no people on my team and I just only do everything myself,
true.
You go
solo.
That's not right. Every great entrepreneur has an amazing team of people around them. Like every sports person has an amazing team of people around them. Even people who play tennis have an amazing team of like physiotherapists and managers and all these people who make them tick.
True.
So entrepreneurs need to build teams, and an entrepreneur needs to be the person who has the vision, who enrolls people, who mobilizes that talent, who brings the confidence into the business with the money. So the investors are investing. They're kind of almost just holding it in place. It's funny. It's like, think of Paris. You got the Eiffel Tower, but the Eiffel Tower doesn't actually do anything.
Total.
Right? It doesn't even make any money. Like you can pay 10 euros to go up the Eiffel Tower, but not many people even do that. But the Eiffel Tower sits in the middle of Paris, and then around all the cafes, the restaurants, the hotels, all of that, suddenly it all works. Now you take the Eiffel Tower away and suddenly,
collapse.
Why do I even want to, right? So the entrepreneur's job is to be the Eiffel Tower that holds everything together around.
You talked about teams. How do you recruit teams? What are the kind of qualities that you look for in building teams?
Well, let's talk about the early days, right? Because now that I've built successful companies, I can use recruiting firms and I can hire people with experience and I can afford them and all that sort of stuff. So today, most people, if you're already at that level, great. But here's what I look for. Can you breathe? Do you have a pulse? Heartbeat, right?
As simple as that, huh?
Right? Have you got some time? At the very beginning of a business journey, you have to work with the wrong people before you get a chance to work with the right people. You must learn how to work with your cousin's best friend, right?
True.
The next layer up be like, so you got to start with like people who are, they're just unemployed, they don't have a job, right? They've just got a bit of time on their hands. Maybe, like for example, one of my first employees when I went to the UK, her fiance had been transferred to the UK. She didn't have a work visa. She wasn't allowed to work.
Okay.
So I just brought her onto the team and she just did work for me and I just paid her with cash, right? Now that's the kind of thing, that's a gold mine if you're an entrepreneur, to get those first 3 to 6 months where you just say, look, let's sort something out. Right. The issues, like I've worked with the neighbor's teenager, right? And so you bring someone together who can just help, just do something, right? A little bit of help. The next level up is you steal people from McDonald's or Starbucks. McDonald's and Starbucks hire very good people, right? They're always middle to lower income families, but they're hardworking. They understand hospitality.
You really mean these brands?
Yeah.
You really mean these brands. Okay.
Restaurants, pubs, McDonald's, Starbucks. You can get someone who is a McDonald's manager to run a multi-million-dollar business, right? So think about it. A typical McDonald's does $3-4 million a year, and it's run by a 24-year-old. And that 24-year-old is running a team of 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And it's a hard business. It's like early morning start, late night. You know, you're making hundreds or thousands of product sales a day.
True.
Right? It's a tricky business. Now, if that 24-year-old can run a multi-million-dollar restaurant successfully, they're going to be able to come. They're going to run your business, right? So Starbucks, restaurants, pubs, cafes, if they've done anything like that, it tells me something about them. It tells me that they're willing to work hard, because everyone who works in a restaurant knows that it's going to be late nights. It's going to be tough. It tells me that they like people, right? Because people who work in restaurants, cafes, they deal with difficult people and they deal with them with a smile, and they smooth it all over. So if a drink spills, sorry about that. That's my fault. Let me fix it. They work systems, right? So they know how to make sure that they do things the right way. They are people who normally have a positive outlook and they take direction. Let's get on with it. And I love people who they grew up in a middle to lower family and they want to ambitiously work their way up and grow. They've got the hunger. So for me, all of that tends to be people who work in cafes, restaurants. So my next level, beyond just working with anyone who can breathe, my next level is hospitality workers. I want to bring hospitality workers in. And then my next level is people who've actually got skills. So skills.
So that's the last.
That's where I start. So that's where the business is starting to work. Most people want to start with people who've got the right skills. The people who've got the right skills, they don't want to work for you.
True. That's why a lot of people say like hire for attitude and train for skills. So you're mainly looking for attitude in the early stage.
And you can also outsource to skills. So like, for example, you want to build a website, get someone on Upwork to do the website, but have the person on your team who's managing them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Daniel, anything for me is like a number, okay? And if we talk about teams, there is a particular threshold while the person is growing a business, the number of team members can fuck up the business in a way. So starting with 2, 3, 4, then what kind of threshold it exists, a number that things can collapse?
So the British military have put a lot of thought into this. And here's how the British military does its first teams. 2-person scout team. So these are people who are scouting an opportunity, they're scouting something. So they're just looking, right, observing, right? That's 2-person co-founders. They're just seeing if there's a good business here to be had. 4-person is what in the military is called a fire team. Fire team is they're getting something done. They're actually engaging and they're doing something. 8-person is a section, and that is a stable unit, right? So that is running nice and smooth. Do you know the next size up is 35 people, called a platoon? Now, what I do with my businesses is I go 2, 4, 8, 35. Now, the most dangerous time in business is between 12 and 35. So between 12 and 35, you're too big to be small and too small to be big.
Correct.
All the things that used to work for your team, before you're 12 people, you always call yourself a family, and you say,
correct.
You know, we work hard, we play hard, we go out and have pizza together, we we're all in it together, and you don't need any structures. We don't have any dashboards. We don't have any. We don't have to have meetings. We don't have quarterly meetings. We don't have bonuses.
True.
We just make it up as we go.
a
Right?
fam.
That's great. You can do that for up to about 8 or 9 people, 12, 13, 14 people. Now the business has split into 2 teams. At 14, 13 people, you've got the original crew and you've got the new hires, or you've got the sales team versus the ops team. So you've got 2 teams now. And then 15, 16, 17 people. If everyone works in the same location, now you've got relationships. So at about 16 or 17 people, you've got 2 people who hook up, and they're now we're not meant to know, but they seem to leave the office at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Going in the same elevator. True.
Yeah.
True.
So once you hit 35, you've got your SLT, your senior leadership team, and then you've got your teams of teams underneath reporting into the senior leadership team. So you need to, it's very, very hard to get past 12. If you do go past 12, you've got to figure out how you're going to get to 35.
Quick.
Yeah, as quick as possible. I saw it once in 3 days.
I had an experience in my life back, like years back. Once I had a meeting with my father, and he brought me to his office and said, like, sit. I said, like, what? He said, now we're scaling fast. And I think you have a team inside of a team. Like, you're creating a company inside of the company, which exactly what you're saying. Like, once you start to, the relationship becomes stronger versus these.
Yeah, but even Microsoft is that. Like, Microsoft is teams of teams. There are people who their job is to work on, this particular product. There's the head of this region. There's the head of, there's the head of the region who also has like the head of, their cloud business and the head of their office software business. And so there's all these, so they have teams of teams. And really, it's one of these things where once you get to a certain size, you have to have the senior leadership team who manage the teams of teams. And that's just where you end up. But I recommend for most people, 90% of people, don't go past 12.
It's more than enough.
Keep under 12 people.
Okay, what kind of revenue can a company of 12 people can achieve?
Well, it used to be that it was normally 100 grand per person was a good result for a long time. So it used to be that if you could have 10 people doing $1 million, that was a great business, stable business, and it would make some profit. But now that we live in the world of software, technology, global markets, AI, all of those sorts of things, I see businesses that regularly have 200,000 to 300,000 per employee. So 10 people doing 3 million. And that's very profitable. Sometimes that's 50% profit margins. So they do 3 million and they make 1.5 to 2.
True.
Yeah. So, but to do that, you've got to be media, technology, and intellectual property, very focused on scalable assets, digital assets.
We will talk about now 24 assets. First of all, I love the name. And what kind of message you wanted from this book, and what are the key highlights of it that you want people to really remember?
So the book is about the idea that people are not productive, assets are productive, right? So most people think people are productive. It's assets that are productive. If you take 2 salesmen, one is selling real estate in Mayfair in London, and the other one's selling real estate in Blackpool in northern England. This person in Blackpool could be a better salesperson. They could be way more like trained and skilled, but the Mayfair person is going to make more money, right? So it's the assets that give you the productivity, not the skills, not the person. If I have a salesperson who works at Microsoft, they're going to make more money than someone who works with less assets. So what we have to do as an entrepreneur is we have to build out the assets. We have to build a database. We have to build a brand. We have to build systems and processes. We have to build culture assets. An asset is anything that if I take all the people out of your business,
it stands on its own.
And the asset's still there and it's doing something. Winning an award is actually an asset, right? So for example, if you have a restaurant and it wins a Michelin star, then it's going to be
overnight,
full for months. You can't get a booking. So that award will attract all the chefs, all the people, all the customers. Everyone wants to go because of the award. So that is an asset. If you write a book and the book becomes a best-selling book, that book is an incredible asset, because if 1,000 people a month buying the book, some of them want to work with the firm. They just pick up the phone, or they email and they say, yeah, I want to work with this company. That book is doing so the entrepreneur's job is to build assets and bring people in to sweat the assets. So 24 assets. There are 24 examples of the assets, and I identified 24 categories of assets that the entrepreneur should focus on building.
What is the most hidden asset that you see entrepreneurs usually don't look at?
So a lot of entrepreneurs have intellectual property that could be very, very valuable, but they just take it for granted because they've known it for years. Yeah. So intellectual property is a methodology for how you achieve something. So for example, I know this sounds silly, but take McDonald's, the Big Mac is actually intellectual property. So you have got, they have a particular way of building the burger with the certain ingredients that it tastes.
The cheese, the cucumbers, the pickle.
3 bits of bread, right? And 2 bits of beef. So they have created a special burger called a Big Mac, and that is their intellectual property as to how they build a burger. It's different to how everyone else builds a burger. It's their intellectual property. There's a guy who wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and he built a 7 steps of highly effective executives. And all over the world, companies buy the methodology. That's intellectual property. He passed away many years ago. And even still, the companies are still buying 7 Habits of Highly Effective People because the intellectual property is there. So most entrepreneurs have valuable intellectual property, but they can't see it. They're too close to it.
True. If we're talking about these days with the social media, how can people really stand out with content?
So standing out with content,
it's becoming very competitive. Everybody is publishing something.
It's very competitive, and it's getting harder, right? Because AI is going to create 10 times more content in the year ahead.
True.
Someone like yourself, if you plug into certain AI, it can automatically turn everything you've previously done into new types of content and be ready to upload 1,000 new pieces. So it's going to get harder for people, but it's almost like you don't want to stand out, you want to connect. I'll tell you why I say that. If I'm walking down the busy street here in Dubai, who's going to stand out to me? Some idiot dressed as a giant purple dinosaur.
True.
Right? I'm going to go, that guy.
Irrelevant.
Why is it? But it's irrelevant, right? He stands out, but who cares? And then you think to yourself, oh, I know, I'll get a Ferrari. Well, in Dubai, everyone's got a Ferrari.
True.
Not special. So even all the things that people do to try and stand out, it's very, very hard to stand out in those ways.
So the purple cow thing has to be relevant in a way.
It's very hard now. But here's what does stand out. If I'm walking down a busy street in Dubai and I see my friend from 20 years ago, and we used to hang out all the time, and I look across the road and there's my friend, my brain, I don't know how it happens, but my brain goes, boom, hey, look, there's your friend. Right? I see them. Like, isn't it weird? There could be hundreds of faces around me, but I just see them out the corner of my eye. I spot my friend from 20 years ago. And then what do? I literally walk across the busy street and I go, hey, how you going? Now, the reason that happens is because of connection. It's not because my friends stood out. They didn't wear a big hat. They didn't wear a fancy outfit. They have a connection with me. The goal, the opposite of competition is connection. My children are not in competition with anybody, right? They have no competition because they have connection, right? There's nothing anyone else's kids can do to convince me that they're better. Right? I have a connection. So what you're really trying to do is trying to build a connection with as many people as you can. You want to build the connection. You don't want to stand out. You build the connection.
A person with extremely low social media following now comes to you and say, okay, whatever I hear from people is to push content out. Your advice now, there is no need now because like you're too, I don't want to say too late or too early into the game.
No, it's getting harder.
It's getting harder.
It's like you can't turn up to the Formula One with a go-kart, right? But unfortunately, 10 years ago, you could turn up with a go-kart and that was fast.
And you fly.
Yeah, you're ahead of the game. Now, you're really like, there are some things you can still do. 3 pieces of content on LinkedIn every week, that's going to actually work. LinkedIn gives great organic reach.
True.
Putting some good quality content out is not a bad thing to do to build connection anyway, but the only real way to get breakthrough now is to partner with people who already have the cut through. So you have to be you have to somehow be in the orbit of the people who do have the cut through.
To pull you up.
Yeah. So you got to find someone who's, If you've got no followers, you've got to find someone who's got 5 to 10,000 followers and start working closer with them and start being in the orbit. The problem is that, and everyone's going to tell you, publish 3 things a day, do this, right? That was great. But then AI came along.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody can
Everyone
do that.
can do it now.
True.
Yeah. And not only can everyone do it, the people who have already got momentum, they can just turn it up to 10 times where it was. So the people like you who've already got a podcast, you can take all of that podcast, use it to train an AI. It will produce more content that's perfect. You can take all your videos, put it through an AI. It'll split it up into 1-minute reels, and it'll just go.
Right away, true.
So the people who are already moving are going to move faster. The people who are starting are going to have a harder time starting. But that's okay. Anything that's hard is valuable.
True.
Anything that's easy is not valuable. So people have to, like, one thing for everyone to know is that if it was easy, everyone would do it, and then it would cease to be valuable. You got to stop looking for easy, right?
True.
It's got to be hard. You got to find things that slap you in the face. That's business. That's how it works.
With AI things now, so a beginner can leverage it and a professional can leverage it as well. How good you leverage it is the thing.
That's the thing.
I want to pivot a little bit to scaling and the phases where a company grows and when is the right time to scale and when is not to scale.
Well, the right time is when you want to scale. You need to start by wanting it, because it's not just some nice thing. It's gonna occupy all your time and energy. And think about scaling. The phase 1 of the business is building a rocket that can fly.
Okay.
Phase 2 is fueling that rocket up and launching it off the platform. And think about, a rocket takes a lot of energy just to get off the ground. So in phase 1, you're building something that can scale. So you're investing into things that you don't need yet. You're investing into creating systems that you don't even need that system. You're creating a brand bigger than what you need. You create like a diagram called the brand guidelines. And you don't need that yet, but you know you're going to need it when you scale. You have to do things like bring in a senior leadership team, even though you don't need a senior leadership team. Maybe bring in a non-executive director. So you're getting ready to scale. And then finally, you bring in some external capital, some debt or some investment. You plug that in, and then boosh, you get the thing going.
What are the pillars that makes a business scalable?
Digital assets is a big one. So those 24 assets, those are all scalable assets. So you need to do that. And it's everything from the financial forecast and the business plan right through to formalizing intellectual property, protecting your brand name, right through to having systems, having products and services, all of those sorts of things. So that you can essentially partner with company. Like, you need to be in a position where you could partner with someone who has 1 million followers and it would turn into business easily.
True.
So you got to get yourself into that position in order to scale. Not all businesses have to scale, right? Plenty of businesses can be 1 million a year and make profit, and they're great, and you can live and work from anywhere and have a great life, but you don't scale it. Because scaling is going to be multiple territories, multiple markets, more products. Right? You're going to have products, markets, territories. You're going to do acquisitions. You're going to buy competitors, buy companies. You're going to manage debt. The truth is that there's very few companies that scale without, having, $500,000 to $1 million of debt at least.
True.
Just at the beginning. In many cases, it's much more. Or you're going to take on equity investors, and they're going to be a pain in the ass. So, like, scaling's a pain in the ass. And the reason you scale is to hit, because it's so hard, once you've got into a scalable rhythm, then you're saleable. First you're scalable, then you're saleable. So once you prove that you're scalable, someone comes along and they give you a life-changing amount of money for the business.
True.
But it's a pain in the ass. And the only reason they pay you tens of millions for a business is because it's horrible, right? If it was easy, they'd do it themselves. They're not going to buy a company for 20 million.
True.
It's easy. If it's easy.
A lot of entrepreneurs, they don't look at the financial part of the business. How important is the financial part, and what kind of advice would you give entrepreneurs in terms of, should I invest in my business, everything that I have, or even from the returns that I get, and managing the financial risk that's associated with it?
So I love to build financial models. There are plenty of young people who have a master's degree in finance, and you can pay them $1,500, $2,000, and they will build you an unbelievable model. And they'll work with you to do it so that you understand every single part of it. And they work with you, they interview you, they ask questions, you explain things, then you start making adjustments and you build this financial model. And it's like having a crystal ball, and you can just look at it and go, oh, okay, so in year 3, we make 600 grand a year. Okay, that's pretty cool. What if we change this? Oh, now we make 700 grand a year. Oh, what if we change this? Oh, we drop down to 400 grand a year. What if we hire these people? Oh, that was a bad decision. Oh, that was a good decision. So you can build this financial model. That helps you to make a decision of, in most financial models, there'll be stuff that we call drawdowns. Drawdowns is where a month where you lose a lot of money. So you've got to make these investments, and you might have a 3-month drawdown where you lose 40 grand, 60 grand, 100 grand, and then 60 grand, 40 grand, right?
True.
So you say, oh, okay, at that part, we need 200 grand as investment capital or debt. So then you go, okay, do I want to take my money and put it in? Do I want to take the business's money and run it really lean? Do I want to get a debt funding? Do I want to get investment? So then you come in and look at it from the front. I'm a big believer that you should talk to a CFO. Now, it used to be that a CFO cost you hundreds of thousands a year. Today, you can get an interim CFO who charges you $1,000 a day, and you can have a meeting with them once a month.
True.
And they can talk you through, and you can. And normally, an interim CFO is someone who's managed hundreds of millions of dollars with their other companies. They know what the businesses look like. They've done mergers and acquisitions. I've got a great CFO. And he says, oh, yeah, we did something like this. We did a takeover and we did this and we got funding from this private equity firm. And then they say, oh, this is how it all works and here's how to do it. Great. Now,
if I ask Daniel a question now, since like you've involved in many businesses and passed through many businesses, if you will set up one business now, what it will be?
The biggest opportunity in the world right now is AI-enabled SaaS. So software as a service is a really good, for the last 10 years, SaaS businesses have been good, scalable businesses. People log into a portal, they get access to some software, the software evolves and changes over time. So when you plug artificial intelligence into the SaaS, now you've got something that's very, very valuable, delivers some incredible outcomes. It can be sold to someone for 30 or 40 bucks a month, and it's scalable to people anywhere in the world. Now, it's an advanced move. It's not an easy business. It's one of those business. It's a black belt move, but AI-enabled SaaS is definitely scalable, valuable, investable, and exitable. So, look, for me and my level that I want to play at, I think that's the game I'm focused on. I think that's a great game to play. But it's a black belt move.
True. It's a black belt. Exact. If I'll go back to the KPI because it's a very interesting methodology, and you work with a lot of people in it. What were the challenges that people face? Which
self-belief is one.
Okay.
Self-belief is how they see themselves. So a lot of people just don't feel confident projecting themselves as a key person of influence. They want someone to come along and tap them on the shoulder and say, oh, by the way, you're ready to be an influential person now. It's like you've got to tap yourself on the shoulder.
True.
And people want to feel confident and then do the thing. It doesn't work like that. You've got to do the thing and then you'll feel confident later. So that's one of the issues. The other thing, people, they want things to be fast and easy. Anything that's fast and easy is not valuable. It's just not valuable. If it was fast and easy, everyone would do it.
And to be super successful in today's world, you need to be a key
you've got to be a key person.
You have to.
Well, actually...
Because I'll tell you why. Because when I speak to, I would say old generation usually say like, safe, keep under the radar, don't be super visible. When you're super visible, you understand this kind of mentality. But it's opposite towards become a key person of influence.
Once you've made your money, you can be invisible if you want to be invisible. But you're not going to make money invisible now.
Yeah, true.
Because you're up against people who've got a profile.
True.
And they can raise money way faster. It used to be that you had to keep invisible to raise money. Now you have to have a profile to raise money.
True.
Yeah, I will just say one thing. You don't have to be a key person of influence, but you need a key person of influence on your team. So like, for example, if I was a 25-year-old starting a business today, I would go and find someone who's got a big reputation, big brand, and I'd give them 25% of my company. I'd say, look, I'm going to work my ass off. You don't have to do anything, but you need to represent the business. We need to have you as the key person of influence. Your name is on the website. You're a director, you're a shareholder,
which is a way of pulling them out as well, pulling them with them.
Yeah, once a year we want you to speak at our annual conference. So you give them the key things that we want you to be on the YouTube channel. Other than that, we will work with you. Think about it like this: if you had a restaurant and you had Gordon Ramsay on there, like, it's going to be successful. Of course, he wouldn't do that. But like that as an example, as soon as there's a big name on touch, actually, I'll tell you some real life examples. Down the road here is the Nobu. They're doing a massive development. Chef Nobu, he doesn't know anything about building buildings. He knows how to cut fish, right? But he's got such a great brand of luxury high-end restaurants.
Leveraging it.
So then they're making the Nobu resort.
Correct.
Chef Nobu is getting paid a ton of money, I'm guessing, to be the face of that. And it's a developer. It'll be a construction company. So you can bring in... You actually, even if you don't have a brand, you can bring in someone who's got a big brand.
And leverage. In KPI, or the key person of influence, you talked about legacy. And a lot of people talk about legacy these days. I want to leave a legacy, But how can people build a legacy, or building a business or a brand that can really outlast them? Like, what is the component to it?
The component is digital assets. Digital assets, because if you think about anything that's digital... If this video, right, it transcends time. We record it today, but it's available forever. Right? It transcends space, because we recorded it in Dubai, but someone's watching it in Egypt. Someone's watching it in Paris. And it transcends wear and tear and decay. If 1 million people or 1 billion people watch this, it's just the same quality. So it transcends time, space, and decay. Now, what are humans limited by? Time, space, and decay. Right?
True.
So if you want to create something, like the ultimate original digital asset was a book. People who wrote a book 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago, they actually still, in some cases, are with us, right? We can see their thoughts. So putting yourself on digital assets is part of legacy. But remember, here's my other thought though. Legacy is to pass on, right? It's passing on. You pass forward. So a lot of people think of legacy as being remembered, which is passing back, right? So you want future generations to remember you, but legacy is passing on. It's saying you have the brand, you have the reputation, right? So the people who build the biggest legacies are the ones who say it's not about me, it's me passing as much forward as I can. The people who have the smallest legacies are the ones who want to be remembered.
True. For entrepreneurs now, what kind of, if they're starting, they're starting their career, what kind of advice or things that you want them to focus on is really start to build their, I would say, personal brand, or what kind of things? Because you said something very interesting in the beginning, which is everybody needs to learn about pitching. So what kind of advice would you give? The dynamics of the environment is changing so much. But if you want them to focus on a couple of things,
pitching is a great one. So pitching is everything from how you introduce yourself right through to a scheduled pitch where you invite people to see a pitch. Young people, no one's going to do this. I'm going to give you some advice. I'll give them advice, but no one will do this. I'll tell you what no one will do. Here's what I want them to do, but they won't. Get your phone and record a passionate pitch where you try and enroll someone in what you're doing. Right? And then watch back and see where you could have improved. And you'll hate it, right? You hate looking at it. But then you watch it back and say, like, no one's going to do this. Do it again, right? Watch it back. See if one way you could improve. Do it again. Because when let's say you go out to a networking event, and you meet someone who's the perfect person. They say, tell me a bit about you. And you go, I'm working on something. It's a new thing.
True.
Right? You just blew it. So make sure in the next 3 years, you're going to be pitching 1,000 times anyway. You are.
Practice it.
Right? So it's either going to be that you do 1,000 bad pitches and you end up nowhere, or you do 1,000 great pitches and you end up on a stage, on a podcast, on a video, on a TV show, on a radio show. Suddenly it's like,
True.
right? So we want to make sure that you're ready for the moment. Be ready for that pitching moment.
So pitching is extremely important. I loved it. Let's move towards where we are now, which is the era of AI. A lot of people heard about it. A lot of people heard about it and know how to handle it. And a lot of people heard about it and don't know what kind of possibilities AI can do in the realm of entrepreneurship. So for entrepreneurs, what AI can do for them? Content creation, sales, what?
Let's start bigger than that. Let's go real big. Every 100 years, there's 1 or 2 general purpose technologies that change the world. So the combustion engine, electricity, steam power, the printing press, the internet, AI, right? AI is what's called a general purpose technology. A general purpose technology means it affects everything, right? If you take a general purpose technology, everything changes. So every business at every level, from the biggest corporations to the littlest startups, they're impacted by AI. And every part of society, from people who are starting out to billionaires, are impacted by AI. So this is what general purpose technologies do. They transform the whole game. They take the whole, like we're all playing Monopoly, and then boom, we're playing. Now it's Scrabble, guys. It's a whole new game is play. So here's the exciting thing: every industry is up for grabs right now. You could pick any industry and go and attack it with an AI play. All the money is going to change hands. Where we think of the money, it's going to move to somewhere else because AI is going to force it to move to somewhere else. So this is an incredible technology that is doing human level intelligence for free everywhere in the world, or almost for free everywhere in the world. It totally changes the nature of the economy, how we get paid, the value of labor, the geographical locations that things can happen.
It could be a threat as well. What you're saying.
Of course it's a threat. It's a massive threat.
True.
By the way, if you've got nothing right now, it's not a threat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's an opportunity.
True.
If you've got millions, you should watch out, right? Because someone's going to come and break your basket of eggs. So it's a massive threat. And it's a massive opportunity all at once. It's a big sword swinging through the economy. It's either going to chop your business down, or it's going to be the thing that actually accelerates you. So you have to get on the right side of it. I'll tell you the biggest threat of AI. AI has these 2 superpowers. One superpower is to get you to consume more than you intended to consume, and the other superpower is to get you to create more than you ever could create. Now, if you're an idiot, you're going to consume and consume and consume. You're going to sit there on TikTok
and watch
scrolling
other
TikToks,
people
watching other people creating stuff, right? And you're going to sit there and go, oh, I'm going to spend all my time watching this, playing computer games. I'll watch another Netflix show, right? It's like, fine, but don't complain when someone else is doing, don't complain about wealth inequality. Don't complain about income inequality. If you're sitting there watching Netflix, if you're sitting there watching YouTube, if you're sitting there scrolling TikTok, right, then don't you dare complain about someone who's earning more money and paying their taxes, because you're just running down this consumption rabbit hole, right? Like a pig eating too much, right? But content. And then on the flip side, AI has the ability to make you create. So it's going to let you set up, you come up with an idea, the AI writes the business plan. The AI creates the financial. It creates product ideas. It creates customer avatars. It helps you with the advertising. It helps you create search engine optimization content. Helps you to recruit your team. Helps you to write your pitch. Right? Boom. Right? The AI is just like this free employee that just does stuff for you. But you have to make a decision. Do you want to be on the consumption side or the creation side? Because you can't play both. And the creator side makes the money, and the consumption side is going to go to zero, right? Because people are going to fill their head and their time with nothing of value.
Daniel, passion. A lot of people say, okay, I need to find my passion and then work on the thing that's aligned with my passion. But there's something called like the passion, and is there a problem that I'm solving, correct? Like, yeah, I can have a passion playing guitar, but like, then what? So can you tell us about this?
Yeah, so entrepreneurs have to make compromise. So it's got to be a compromise. It's not going to be pure passion, right? I don't care who you are. Everyone has to make a compromise. Even if you play guitar, you got to make compromise, because you have to play songs people want to hear, right? And if you don't, you're not going to make any money from it. So there's 3 things that have to compromise, and it's difficult, but you have to do this. One is your passion, and these are the things you love doing naturally. You do them for free if you could, right? This is like, things that give you emotional internal rewards.
Fulfillment in a way.
Fulfillment. You feel good, dopamine, serotonin, all that, right? So there's the passion. Then there is the problem that you solve that people desperately want you to solve, right? And then there's the stuff people are willing to pay for. So you have passion, problem, payment.
Okay.
Now, if you go to the extreme, you block out the other 2. The extreme of how much you could earn the most money probably isn't what you're passionate about, and probably isn't the problem that you can solve the best. The thing where you're just solving problems for other people, then it's probably not getting you paid, and it's not
true.
You lose your passion for it. So you're trying to find a blend. You're trying to go to the middle where they all come together and overlap. But in the middle, you're making compromises. I'll give you a silly example. I love snowboarding. Snowboarding's great. I would snowboard all the time, but no one's willing to pay me for that, right? But here's what I do. Once a year, I take I take 40 clients, and we go to the snow together, and we call it Ski Person of Influence, right? And we have a great time bombing down the mountain and talking business. And that is something I look forward to, right? And it's not,
got it.
It's not my business, but my business does include some snowboarding. So I've included some passion in what I do. I've brought the ingredient into the broth.
You can do it regularly, but you include it in a way.
Yeah, no one's paying me to do it, but it's part of it makes my business more enjoyable. So it's an ingredient in the dish, but it's not the main dish.
I love that.
So that's an example. So you can bring things in. You can also sort of do a little bit of this, but a little bit of that. The other thing too, don't underestimate, people can get passionate about anything if they're getting paid.
Yeah, true.
Right? I've seen people go, oh, I'm so passionate about construction. Yeah, because you want you want a $10 million contract. Of course you're passionate.
Yeah. You have a statement that I love, build advisors around you rather than having or paying for a PhD.
Oh, yeah. So this is the idea that business is a team sport. So like, for example, some of my clients, they came to me and they said, one of my clients came to me and said, oh, should I do a PhD? I said, no.
Or doing an MBA or
just set up an advisory board and bring an MBA and a PhD onto your advisory board. I said, now you've got one today.
True.
Right? You don't have to wait 3 years to have this. Like, just get the person and then if the business changes, get a different PhD.
True, 100%.
So create an advisory board. How much were you going to spend on a PhD? Oh, about $100,000, right? Well, pay these people $1,500 per meeting. You can have 10 meetings a year, right? 1 meeting a month will cost you $18,000. That leaves you $80,000 worth of change. Like,
correct. 100%.
So a lot of people just want to look good. They want to update their LinkedIn. Oh, I got an MBA from Harvard. Right?
Exactly.
It's like I would rather have an MBA from Harvard who comes and joins my advisory board as opposed to. Yeah.
But you're a type of person that supports. If your kids come to you, should I go to university or go learn a skill? What you gonna tell them?
Depends why. I would have to look at why do they want to go to university? Are they have they got a really fixed idea as to this is what I really want to do and I need this degree? Like I can't be a vet without, in which case fine. But if they're saying, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to go $100,000 in debt and go to a university, then I'll say, well,
on here.
Let's get you an apprenticeship.
Hold on here.
I want my kids doing an apprenticeship more than that. Like I'd rather that they, because they're not going to earn anything at university anyway. I'd rather that they work for free for somebody to learn the skills. And you can here's the other thing, you can take short courses now. I don't know, like
True.
some of the most of the universities, they have these 6-week courses,
True.
Introduction to Private Equity. There's a course called MBA Essentials. So you can do the Harvard University MBA Essentials course for $1,000 or $2,000 bucks.
True.
6 weeks, boom.
Done.
Here's all the top level bits.
And here's your LinkedIn field.
Right there, yeah, you put them. So it's like I would rather that they're working, getting real life experience, and taking these little short courses online, because even the universities are mostly online now. So it's crazy.
Because a lot of like cultures where we live in, education is part of a cultural thing. So that's why it's a big debate
I
now.
get that.
Go
I get that.
to university or
Yeah,
no need.
I'm not against it. It's contextual. You know, it's not going to do much for you, but it's going to
Depends on the objective at the end.
Yeah, it's got to be. Look, there are some people I know who are from a very large family business. Part of the family business is that you go to a top university, you get the qualification, because that allows you to come in at a senior level, and people will accept you at that level,
True.
right? So I know people who, like, it would be unfair for the kids to be in their 20s and sitting in on senior meetings if they didn't have a degree from Harvard,
True.
right?
Yeah.
So I get that. There are certain contexts where I understand how it has to happen.
Being an entrepreneur, reaching a level, and then becoming an investor in other businesses. How this transition goes. Like, you build a company and you kept building companies. Then, okay, now it's time to...
Entrepreneurs are terrible investors.
Yeah.
We're so bad. We're so bad. The reason we're bad investors is because we can see the positives in everything. Right? I've invested in some dumb stuff because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure that'll work, right? My wife is a great investor because she always looks for what could go wrong.
Okay.
She's got more of a realistic mindset. So when she looks
Murphy's Law, where it's going to hit. Yeah.
She's looking at something and go, this could fail, this could fail. I'm like, don't worry about it, let's go, right? And the thing is, I feel like I could make that business successful, but I'm not going to be the one who's running it. So therefore, I need to be very skeptical. I'm not a skeptical person by nature. I'm easily fooled, right? You tell me...
Optimistic.
Yeah, you tell me that this building is going to take off to go to the moon. I'm like, this is going to be great. So I'm too optimistic. So for me personally, most of my investments are in dumb stuff like managed funds, and we hold property in like AAA rated places. So the boring stuff is where I like to put money. Occasionally I get super excited by an entrepreneur or technology. I run it past my wife. If she says,
it's fine,
if she says, I pay attention, she's my tuning fork, right? So depending on if she thinks it's an idiot thing, I trust her. And if she says, no, I think actually you might be onto something, that's like a big green flag, right? So I've made some very good investments as well. So like I invested into a very early AI company that's now worth hundreds of millions. And when I invested, it was it was almost worth nothing. And so that's been obviously a home run.
But do you follow the investment philosophy? I only invest in things that I know.
I invest things that I understand, and I also try and understand myself. I try to be self-aware and say, Daniel, you're an idiot. Like when it comes to investing, you're too gullible. You're good at business, but you're too easily fooled when it comes to
decks. Huge decks.
And I stay away completely. I stay away from trading. Right? I know myself. I'm not a good trader, right? Because I want it to work, and I think that I can. I'm the type of person who I want to influence things.
Okay.
Right? So if I invest into a trade, I want to be able to, I want to somehow
get it up.
Right. I want to do something. So I don't want to sit back and watch what happens. I want to have an influence over what happens.
But which means you're always active investor. Like when you invest in something, you're an active.
My best investments, like even the AI company, I did things to help push that AI company for just the introductions and little bits and bobs. So I want to be able to feel like I understand it enough to push it in the right direction. But look, I shouldn't be the one talking about investing because I've had terrible ones that have gone to zero. I've had some that have been super successful. I don't have a great formula. I'm not a very clever investor. I know that I'm an idiot in that space. But that has also, the best investments have been AAA rated property, and
real estate,
and S&P 500 tracker funds.
Yeah. If we look at your career, what lesson or a failure that happened to you that really I will always remember it? And it's a lesson, of course.
The lesson would be about getting teams into alignment and keeping teams in alignment, having difficult conversations. When you feel that the alignment is lost, you have to have the difficult conversation. So if there's someone in your life that you are linked to, whether it's a marriage, a friendship, or a business partnership, you can feel on a scale of 1 to 10
Where the alignment is.
where the alignment is. So sometimes it's 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 is where you can be a mind reader, right? You know what they're thinking. They know what you're thinking. You can say one word. Like you could be in a meeting. If you've got 10 out of 10 alignment, you could be in a meeting. You glance at them and you're both thinking the same thing.
Yeah, true.
Right? And you might just go like this with your hands. Like I've been in meetings where we're being pitched and my business partner's here and I'll just kind of cross my hands slightly over the top and it means we're not fucking doing it.
True.
Right? And he knows and I know, right? So it's like that, just the slightest little shift and we pick up on it.
True.
You see the basketball teams, 10 out of 10 alignment, they can throw the ball behind their back. They know the player's there.
Exactly.
Right? They heard the squeak of the shoe.
True.
Right? However it happened magically. But then it drops down to a 5 and you're just fumbling with each other, right? And then it drops, and from 5 it easily goes to a 4, and from 4 it's down to a 3. The trick with all partnerships, like all business involves people, and people need alignment. So when you feel it come down below an 8, you have to have difficult conversations. So you have to say, hey, look, I get the feeling that we're just not as aligned as we could be. What do you want out of this? What's driving you at the moment? What are you struggling with? What are you frustrated by? What's going on for you? And then you need to sort of say, like, in most cases when we want something, we hold on to it really tight. There needs to be these moments where you just let go and say, hey, look, something has to shift. How do you want this to be? Right? Let's get back into alignment around this. Like, let's not get so aggressive about it. Let's not hold on so tightly. Let's refigure out.
One of the most interesting lessons, or like a guest shared with us, alignment. If we're looking at the future, what's going to be your goals, like personally and professionally?
That's an alignment question. Yeah. What do you want? Do you want a lifestyle or do you want performance? Do you want to pull money out or do you want to invest money back in? Do you want this thing to grow, doubling every year, but we hate our lives, or do you want to double every 2 years, but we can manage it a bit more easily? So you've got to figure those sorts of things out. What do you want? The other big lesson, big lesson, this one you're not going to like. No one likes this one. This is a horrible lesson. Business is not fair. And you have to stop expecting it to be fair. And there's one thing that people want to be fair that's not fair. People say, if I do good work, if I deliver value, I want to get paid. It's not how business works. And I'll explain. The airlines, right? The airplanes, the airlines, they deliver incredible value. They fly a piece of metal through the air safely. They have pilots, they have customer service, they have safety, they have capital investment, they manage billions of dollars worth of debt. They get your suitcase out the door as fast as they can. They work when it's raining or snowing or sunny. They do amazing value. They get 5% profit margin, right? So that's not fair. And then Rolex watches, they don't do anything.
True.
They have a product that you can copy.
Exactly.
You can perfectly copy a Rolex for $500,
100%.
and they sell it for 10,000.
True.
Right?
And you're on a waiting list.
Terrible customer service. You're on a waiting list. You can't get it. You can't get what you want.
You have a couple of days to come pick it up.
Yeah,
if not,
boom, that's it.
True.
Now, if I push a button and I say we get rid of all airlines, everyone would freak out. And if I push a button that says we get rid of all of Rolex watches, people go, oh, whatever. All right, fine. Most people don't care. So the airline delivers value but doesn't make profit. Rolex does something silly but makes a ton of profit. It's not fair. But the way that business works is that you either generate huge demand,
volume,
and constrain supply, or you generate amazing supply but you don't have much demand. All the profit in the business is just demand and supply, right? And people don't want it to be that simple. They want it to be complicated. They want business to be way more complicated. But the truth is, business is a game of demand and supply. If there is one of these tigers and there's 10 people who want it, the price of the tiger goes up. Regardless if everyone thinks it's stupid, if there's one and two people bidding for it, the price is going up.
True. I love that.
Yeah. So it's not fair. It's demand and supply.
What's your goals?
Very simple. I enjoy playing the game. So my goal is to just enjoy playing the game. I'm not trying to get anywhere. I don't worry about the outcomes. You think about someone who loves going to the gym, they're going to be fit. You think about someone who wants to be fit but hates going to the gym, they're not going to be fit. For me personally, I love developing entrepreneurs who stand out, scale up, and make a positive impact. I love creating technology products that do amazing things for our customers. I love playing the game of business. I love writing books about business. I love having podcasts. So for me, it's about doing the day-to-day things that
I love that you're flying out today and even coming to the podcast.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I would have moved my flight. So for me, it's all about, my goal is to enjoy it. My goal is to do the things I enjoy doing and to enjoy the moment.
But do you have this work-life balance, the terminology that people say?
Yes and no. It's like a pendulum. Sometimes it's broken. Sometimes it's too far this way, and sometimes it's too far this way. For me, it's not a work-life balance. It's a work-life pendulum. And I just got to recognize when it swings too far this way, and I go, I'm putting my family in risk because I'm not seeing enough of the family, right? Or I'm putting my health at risk because I'm not, right? And then I need to swing that pendulum back the other way. But sometimes I go, hey, wait a second. This is too. I'm too relaxed. I'm too calm. I'm not pushing myself hard enough. So it's a work-life pendulum. The goal is really to try to be better at recognizing when it needs to swing back before it swings too far.
Correct. Love that. Do you have a hidden talent or a skill that nobody knows?
I play. I wouldn't call any of them a talent. I write books, but everyone knows that. I never expected you to ask that question. If it's a hidden talent, it's hidden from me.
You like cooking,
you like
singing.
Sales. I'm good at sales.
Yeah.
I'm really good at sales. You put me in front of customers.
It's done.
I make sales. And I love sales. I love
sales.
I love sales. I love the whole sales process. I love one-to-one sales.
But pitching is also a sales process.
Pitching. I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
There is a quickfire questions.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So are you ready?
All right. I don't do anything quickfire, but anyway.
You have a morning routine or evening routine?
I have 3 little kids.
Okay.
So mornings and evenings is getting the kids up and ready for school and getting the kids to bed. It's not about me, but it's about making sure most mornings it's about getting the family out the door and ready. Yeah.
One piece of advice you wish more entrepreneurs know?
Everything's downstream from lead generation.
A habit that has contributed most to your success?
Weekly sales. Like talking to customers. Talking to customers and listening to customers.
If you could have dinner with any of 3 people, living or dead, who would they be?
Ryan Reynolds. He's doing incredible things at the moment. Richard Branson. And the first 2 just hit me like a bolt of lightning.
I see.
I'm thinking I want to. There's a woman called Lynn Twist who wrote a book called The Soul of Money, and she's really good at understanding the bigger, deeper picture. I'd love to have dinner with her. Yeah.
A person who influenced you the most in your life?
All my mentors, John. There's a guy called Mike Harris who built 3 multi-billion-pound businesses, and I was mentored by him. My wife, right? Sometimes she influences me in things I don't want to do, but she's good at it. But in general, my life got a lot better when I got my wife. So she has steered me in. She's always steered me in the best direction. Yeah.
A favorite city to live in?
Well, I'm loving Dubai.
Wow.
I love my home in London, and London is a great city, and will always be a great city.
Yeah.
But Dubai is a frontier city right now, and the energy.
So we'll see you more here.
Oh yeah, I'll be here more.
I love that. What's your life biggest regret?
Poorly handled business breakup. Yeah.
You're a tea or a coffee person?
Coffee.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains, snowboarding in winter, beach summer.
Yeah. Favorite cuisine?
Italian.
Oh, favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite car brand?
Well, I've always had BMWs. I've always had BMWs, but not because I'm passionate about them. They just do the work.
Yeah.
You know, family
the
car.
BM is a BM.
Do you know, out of all the sports cars that I've driven, one of my favorite cars, and this will make your listeners vomit.
Yeah.
One of my favorite cars is a little 2 Series convertible BMW, right? Because
The Z1 or?
no, just a basic convertible little 2 Series. It's zippy and fast. You don't care if you hit a speed bump. Right? Do you know that all of your listeners, they want to have a Lambo, they want to have a Ferrari. The truth is, you the whole time you're in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, your ass is puckered up, right? You're like this, and you're freaking out.
Yeah.
Right? I know I've got friends of mine that reverse their Lamborghini out the driveway. Bang! They knock the rear vision mirror off the side because it sits out so wide.
True.
8,000 euros later, right? Just
done.
But in my little BMW 2 Series, I fly around London. I don't care where I park.
What would happen? Yeah.
My experience of that car is enjoyment.
Yeah.
Like I have enjoyment. Same as all my watches.
So your favorite watch brand?
My favorite watch, of all the nice watches I've got, my favorite watch is a Rolex Explorer. Right? It's a super basic. It looks nice with a tuxedo. It looks great if you're camping.
Casualing, true.
You can be casual.
True.
Nobody wants to rip it off your wrist.
True.
Right? So I won't wear most of my expensive watches in London anymore. I'll wear a nice watch in Dubai because you're safe in Dubai.
True.
But strangely, there's a theme that I have noticed, which is the most extreme possessions don't bring you joy. It's actually the 8 out of 10 that brings you joy, not the 10 out of 10.
True.
Because
when it's 10 out of 10, you're curious about it. You want to protect it. You feel
too much energy, there's too much going on around it. It's too, it attracts too much attention and it's too strangely, the 8 out of 10, like the Rolex Explorer, I don't care if I bang it.
True.
All right. The BMW 2 Series, I don't care if it scratches, fine. It's fine.
Correct.
I'm just enjoying it. So it's interesting for your listeners, the thing that you think of as the extreme, like even a big boat, 100 foot plus is actually, it's too painful to take it out and bring it back. And you need 3 or 4 people and all this sort of stuff. A 60-foot boat, it's you literally have one person whose job is skippering it or whatever. You're going to enjoy that way more than a 100-footer.
True. I love your perspective on things. What's an alpha for you?
Alpha is that you have an image of yourself that is your best self, and you're trying to get towards that. And you accept yourself as you are, but you also accept yourself how you could be, and you're doing the best that you can do, and you're holding yourself to a high standard. You're being brave, getting out of your comfort zone. You're having fun, looking for the juice of life, and you're making a positive impact in the lives of people around you.
What would be the last message you want to leave the audience with today?
This is the most incredible time in history to be an entrepreneur. This is the most amazing time. You can access global markets. There is so much money on this planet. People have tons of money that they're looking to invest in things. This is the time where an idea can go around the world at light speed. You can have a team of people who could be in the Philippines, could be in Europe, could be in America. You could have a global team all working together on an idea. You could publish books, publish media, publish content. You could create software. This is the most incredible time in history. There is no other time in history that you want to swap for.
True.
Right? Don't be sitting there going, oh, they had it better in the 50s. No, they didn't. Right? We've got it better now. This is the moment. So don't waste this moment. It may change, but this is the most incredible moment where anyone can do something extraordinary.
Perfect. We have a traditional.
Oh dear.
It's called the Alpha Talks Memoir.
You're going to tip a bucket of water on me?
It's easier than that. So this tradition is what? The Alpha guest, he will do 3 things. Number 1, he will write his experience in the Alpha Talks show. The second is write a question to the coming Alpha guest.
Oh, I like it.
He or she won't know that you wrote the question, but it's a way of connecting to each other, which means you will answer a question.
I love it.
And the third one, who do you recommend to be on the Alpha Talks podcast?
That's how I got here.
Exactly. So are you ready for the question?
I'm ready.
So, okay. Are you stressed in your current in your current, okay, are you stressed now? And how do you cope with stress?
I'm not stressed. This week in Dubai, oh my goodness, have I just done I've done 9 speaking engagements, 4 podcasts. I've done all this stuff, right? I hosted a boat party. I've had dinner everywhere. I've stayed in 3 hotels in a week. Went to the Abu Dhabi Formula One.
No way.
It's been the most crazy
A week.
So I'm tired.
Yeah.
I need to sleep. I need to stop.
6 hours flight.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I don't get stressed. Look, here's what I say to myself. My shoulders are broad, give me more. I say
But it's a mindset, actually.
my mindset is this. I'm not running a country. There are people my age who are prime ministers and presidents and generals of an army. I'm not doing that.
True.
No one dies if I make a wrong decision, right? Stop taking myself too seriously. In 50 years after I'm dead, no one will know forget about it, right? So my shoulders are broad, give me more. Give me more.
I love
Right?
this.
I'm built for this. Do you know your brain, if you say I'm really stressed, your brain will go, oh, really? Am I? And if you say, my shoulders are broad, give me more, I'm built for this, then your brain goes, okay, cool.
He can take it. Yeah. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you with us today.
Likewise.
And I'm sure next time when you come and do Dubai, we'll have another one.
That'll be excellent.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thank you.
That wraps another inspiring episode of today's show. I hope that this episode has ignited your inner alpha. Remember, alphas aren't born, they're made. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the Alpha Talks on your favorite podcast platform. Also connect with us on social media at Saif Al Hakim. Share your thoughts, insight, and stories of personal and business growth with us. Let's create a movement of alphas supporting one another. The world needs more alphas like you exactly. Until next time, stay bold, stay driven, and stay alpha.